June 20th marks 2 years since the passing of Denzel Curnell. And in this special edition of Quintin's Close-Ups, I speak exclusively with both Dwayne German, his stepfather, and his sister, Lonese Lang. So,
How you doing?
Good, yourself? It's been a year since I've seen you.
Yeah, but the date has changed, but the circumstances remain the same.
Matter of fact, we're sitting in a home right now, which is really painful. Well, it has painful memories for you.
A lot.
Yeah.
A lot.
The last time you saw Denzel Curnell alive was right here.
Right here in this house, roughly 3:35, quarter to 4 that evening.
Yeah.
And 10:35 that night he was gone.
Wow. And joining you right now is your
daughter, Lonnie.
Right. Hi, how are you?
Fine, how are you?
Doing great. Talk to me about the memories of Denzel, the person that you knew.
I grew up with him every day, so I mean, what they're saying, suicide, I can't really picture it in my head as him killing himself. People, I don't know. I just don't think he killed himself.
Okay.
I'll never believe that.
For me, one I know for a fact he did not. Because he was a strong southpaw. He didn't have the mentality for it. You could talk to his educators, his peers, and all those who knew about him and knew him, and told him that he wasn't capable or that wasn't possible of him. That was a fabrication devised to exonerate themselves.
And you told me that, what, a year ago?
I told you that then,
right.
I'm telling you that now.
Right.
God spare life, I'll tell you that next year this time.
And when we talked last June at my house, you basically said that his sister right here have had moments. What are those moments like for you, not having Denzel here?
Empty.
Wow.
I'm used to growing up with him every day. Like, first person
they
I
were
see
really close.
in the morning, last person I see at night.
Wow.
And all promise of him is gone. All possibility of things good of him are gone. And surrounding all his goodness and him being gone, it's surrounded with all this myth and fabrication to exonerate themselves from all wrongdoing. Yes, he was armed, but he did not kill himself. He was a strong southpaw, a distinct southpaw. A southpaw cannot shoot themselves in the right temple. And he was shot execution style.
Wow.
I said that then, I say it again this year. He did not kill himself.
And you are a man of God. As we sit here right now, what is the Holy Spirit telling you? What is your heart telling you that really happened on June 20th, 2014?
There was an altercation with Denzel and Officer Medlin. Because of his manner of dress, he was deemed to be suspicious because it was warm and he had on heavier dark clothing. So that made him stand out. And the pariah that Officer Medlin is in the community that he supposedly has served.
Right.
Everyone was a suspect. Everyone was guilty of something. To me, he seemed like a person who had nothing but contempt for the community he served. And I believe during the altercation, he overpowered and shot Denzel with the firearm that he was in his possession.
Wow. Let me talk to you for a second because obviously, like I said, you're his sister. I'm wondering, can you take me back to June 20th, 2014? I'm wondering, how did your day start and how did it obviously end?
I was already coming downtown, so I slept downtown. He didn't know I was going downtown. I never told her. I told him I was going to be downtown, but I didn't tell him what I was going to be at. My friend Steven, his mom died last week. Now, I was supposed to be going to her funeral the night after. Well, the morning after.
Right.
And Quintin, this little girl, she was like, Lonese, come outside. She was like, that looks like your brother on the ground. Yeah, he got the same eyes as you. That's got the same nose. That's your brother. He looks worried. Come outside. I didn't come outside because I didn't believe her because I knew she liked to lie sometimes. And then when I went outside, before I went outside, I heard gunshot. Then we finally ran outside. And we ran outside. I just saw like a little boy on the ground. It didn't look like my brother because my brother was taller than me. So when I did go out there, I saw Officer Miller with his gun drawn, and he was like, shots fired, and police came from everywhere and just ran like rushed us, telling us to move, get away. But when I saw him, his left hand was on this side, his right hand was covering his face. So I don't know.
And from what I heard, there was like how many people were out there? 200 plus?
It was a lot of people out there, but the police were threatening people, saying, if y'all don't move, if y'all don't get in the house, we're gonna get y'all so and so put out and all of this. That's why people were scared to come forward.
With this information?
Yeah,
Intimidation and suppression.
So talk to me, I want you to walk with me back down memory lane to the time when the death of Denzel Curnell happened, to getting representation by Andy Savage.
I did not acquire Andy. I did not approach him in representation at the time of his death. I was so distraught.
Right.
I couldn't, and disbelief that he was going there. I couldn't do nothing for a couple of days.
Wow.
A couple of days, I was just out of it. You talking about sudden death?
Right.
It just had me out of it. I was just at a loss. I was in complete denial, complete surprise, devastated, and all that covered with anger. Still, because what they're saying, what they fabricated, is nothing but the untruth. They know it. That's why it took Chief Mullen 7 months to have a sit down with me. At the sit down, all he actually said was, not even sorry for your loss, but if you would move on. That's what angers me. That's why I'm trying not to be bitter.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It's a heart-wrenching thing to have a child snatched from your embrace in such a way, and then told you that there's no recourse for you, there's no closure for you, there's no way you can have the truth will never be told because they sit in power, because they sit at the helm, and former Mayor Riley, condoned these actions so he could make an exit without controversy on his retirement.
Speaking of which, as you know, John Tecklenburg is the new mayor of Charleston right now. I'm wondering, what do you want from him right now as far as the death of Denzel Curnell is concerned?
I think he inherited a mess that no one wants to recognize. But I think he's a just man and a fair man, and I'm cautiously confident that he'll do what needs to be done.
Yeah. I want to talk to his sister one more time, because Mr. German just talked about the days after the death of Denzel Curnell. I'm wondering, what was it like to be you?
Well, I was in school, so it was kind of hard focusing.
Okay.
I really didn't want to go back.
Wow. And Mr. German, you talked to me over the phone, and I have to tell people, you called me a couple of weeks ago at 7:30 in the morning and left me a voicemail saying that you wanted to talk to me.
Yes.
And in that particular conversation, you told me that Andy Savage was initially representing you guys, but right after the Walter Scott case, he took that, and since then you haven't had any representation. Talk to me more about that.
After he removed himself from the case, it was hard to get any other representation because the former mayor, the solicitor, and the police chief all collaborated to make this, to deem it a suicide when they know it is not. And I believe the former mayor used all his influence and contacts to make it so.
Wow.
So he could have a graceful exit without a controversy of a police shooting resulting in death on the end of his watch.
Wow. It's been, go ahead.
And then you have the Emmanuel shooting, which is no less than horrific in itself.
Okay.
And once again, the victims, being that people of color, have to be graceful, be forgiven, and take the high road with the ultimate loss and ultimate sacrifice of loved ones. Not of materialistic things. Things that can be replaced. But of loved ones who are once gone can never return. That is hard. That is hard. And it's harder so to take the high road when that person is snatched from your embrace by a vicious, mean-spirited person. And to forgive that vicious, mean-spirited person when they know in their heart that what they did was wrong, but they hide behind their beliefs or their status in the community or their position at work.
Well, let me ask you, you talk about forgiveness. Have you forgiven Mayor Riley, Charleston Police Chief Greg Mullen, and the officer who had the altercation with your son?
I try to. It would be better for my whole being if I did or if I could. But the severity of the wrongdoing is hard such that it's hard to. That even if I did, sometimes I want to recant.
Why?
Why? Because it's a blatant lie. A blatant lie and a fabrication. They know in their heart what happened. But to exonerate themselves, to leave their hands free, they used the tools that were there to make him guilty and wrong. Call him mentally unstable. He was a 19-year-old kid, fresh out of high school. I sent him to the military. We just had this talk.
Right.
Before I had him go into the military because I didn't want nothing to happen to him. You know something, this question that you asked me, I want to ask them this if they say this. God forbid that their children that they love and nurture and raise to be whole people and community, and to be citizens in the community.
Right.
Could they forgive someone if they were to take their lives away? Be it an accident, deliberate, or a sickness, do you think they could ask them if they could forgive? At the gathering they had the next day, after Denzel shooting, I asked these people this right now, anyone within eyeshot of this video, so close your eyes. Close your eyes and think of all that you love. Who could you live without? Out of all the people you love. From the youngest to the oldest. If they were suddenly snatched away just like that. And I'm not talking about by sickness or natural death. Imagine they were snatched away by a deliberate act. How do you think you can handle that? How do you think any one of them will handle that? How do you think any parent will handle that? All his promise is gone. All his possibility is gone. I take solace that he's been transformed to another state of being, that he lives in pure light. And that is a better place. But who gave them the right to deliver him there now? Someone who deemed themselves judge, jury, and executioner? Who should live, who should die? Whose hands should that power rest in? Now, if I took it upon myself, say eye for eye, we all be blind and no one would see. Now, you could probably pick up on my anger and my bitterness. This is a lot to take. And then, and over time, it don't get no better. Through faith and prayer, you might manage it, and some days are better than worse, but the pain remains the same. Because I asked any parent and shot on my ears and my eyes, what would you do if one of your kids were gone? How would you handle that? Who on this God's green earth don't want the best for their kids? How would you feel? How would you feel if you were standing in my shoes?
And Mr. German talked about closing your eyes and, basically thinking about if you were to lose a loved one. Obviously, you lost your brother 2 years ago. If you were to close your eyes right now, what would you want to ask Denzel right now?
What really happened?
Yeah. Mr. German, how about you? What would you ask him right now? Because I'm assuming you know that he's in heaven.
What would I ask him?
Yes, sir.
I wouldn't ask him how he's doing because I know God's being good to him. He's with his heavenly father, not his earthly father. I've asked him to look out for me and guide my path along with his father in heaven so I can do what needs to be done.
Well, Dwayne German and Denzel Curnell's sister, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate this.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.